Welcome to the deep dive. As a learner, you are constantly seeking out these frameworks to make sense of a really complex world, right? Without getting completely bogged down by information overload.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to just drown in the noise these days.
Exactly. So today, our mission is to explore this really fascinating, honestly pretty unconventional 2019 essay by a thinker named Sofeng. It's titled Three Causes of Life's Behavior. And the goal here is to explore this unified theory of, well, why humans do what they do.
Right, which is a massive undertaking. I mean, attempting to map out all human behavior is no small feat.
No, not at all. And it completely challenges the conventional wisdom we've all grown up with. Like, we always hear those phrases, birds die for food, but people die for money, or that the whole hustle and bustle of the world is just a scramble for profit.
Yeah, the idea that deep down we're all just these highly rational, profit-seeking machines.
Right. So, okay, let's unpack this. Are wealth and profit really our ultimate drivers? Because the source material basically says absolutely not.
What's fascinating here is that Feng's core thesis completely rejects that idea. He argues it's actually not money at all. Instead, he introduces this triad: affection, reason, and nature. Or in the original text, King, Li, and Qing. And he claims these three things dictate every single human action.
Every single one. That is a bold claim. So to understand this new three-part framework, we first need to look at why he thinks the traditional explanations, fall short.
Exactly. The transactional model just doesn't hold up when you look at the extremes of human experience.
Yeah, the text actually shares these great quotes to prove money isn't everything. Like, people die for love, it quotes. Ask the world, what is life all about? Some people live for it, others die for it.
Right. No one is sacrificing their life for a slightly better stock portfolio.
Exactly. And it brings up freedom, too. Life is dear, love is dearer, both can be sacrificed for freedom. And loyalty, leaving a loyal heart in the pages of history.
Well, and even in daily life, right? Think about family quarrels. When you have a massive blowout with a sibling, it's almost never about a contract dispute or financial profit.
Oh, for sure. It's about feeling disrespected or unheard. But he doesn't just go after the profit motive. He actually takes aim at established psychological theories, right?
He does. He specifically addresses things like Maslow's hierarchy of needs and Freud's theories on unconscious sexual instincts.
Right, which are like the pillars of modern psychology.
Yeah, and to be clear, he says they are valid up to a point. They just can't explain all behaviors. They're incomplete.
And this is where the text brings in this highly specific, honestly bizarre example that I love. The author talks about someone trampling on an ant while simultaneously praising a member of the same sex.
Yeah, it's such a striking image.
It really is. Because if you try to apply Maslow or Freud to that exact 10-second window, it makes absolutely zero sense.
Yeah.
Like, stepping on a bug isn't fulfilling a physiological need or self-actualization. And Freud, good luck finding the repressed sexual instinct in squishing an ant while complimenting someone's shoes.
Right, you just be twisting yourself into knots trying to make it fit.
So wait, is the author throwing out traditional psychology entirely, or is he just saying it has blind spots?
It's the latter. He's saying they have blind spots. He sees theories like Maslow's and Freud's as subsets of a much larger mechanism. They explain parts of human behavior, but to catch everything, the irrational, the weird, the mundane, you need a broader catch-all triad.
Got it. So if money and Freud can't explain everything, how exactly do affection, reason, and nature actually work?
Well, Schwefing breaks it down as a strict rule. All human behavior, without exception, fits into at least one of these three buckets. So, reason is logic, objective truth, facts. If a behavior isn't logical, if it doesn't fit into reason, then by process of elimination, it must be driven by either affection or nature.
And how does the source map those out? Because affection and nature feel like they could blur together for a lot of people.
They map out pretty clearly in how they manifest. Desires are manifestations of nature. It's your raw, inherent baseline. Requirements or demands placed on others, that's affection. And preaching or arguing a point, that's reason.
Okay, that makes sense. To help visualize this, I was thinking it's like a 3-channel mixing board in a recording studio.
I like that.
Right. You have 3 sliders: affection, reason, and nature. And if you're talking to someone and you slide the reason volume all the way down to 0 because what they're saying makes 0 logical sense, well, that means their affection or nature sliders must be pushed all the way up.
That is a perfect analogy, and it explains why we constantly misjudge people. We say someone is being unreasonable like it's a character flaw, but in this framework, they aren't failing at logic. They just aren't on that channel.
Exactly. They're maxed out on affection, looking for a connection, while you're demanding a spreadsheet.
Yes. And the nature channel is fascinating too. The author uses dietary choices as an example. Some people are just born omnivores, others are lifelong vegans.
Right, you can't use reason to debate someone out of their inherent nature.
Exactly, and you can't use affection to guilt them out of it either. Another great example from the text is a person whose nature is, quote, living for yourself while helping others secretly.
Oh, wow. Yeah, logically that makes no sense. If you help someone, reason says you should take the credit, build social capital, and it's not affection because keeping it a secret stops you from building that emotional bond.
Right, it's just the raw fabric of who they are. It's their nature.
It's so interesting. But okay, here's where it gets really interesting. What happens when two people are operating with completely different sliders pushed up? Because the source applies this directly to the household.
Oh yeah, the domestic battlefield. The author claims, very bluntly, that home is not the place for reasoning.
Home is not the place for reasoning. I feel like a lot of people listening are nodding their heads right now.
For sure. He argues the home is a place for affection and nature.
The text actually uses a traditional gender binary here, right? Claiming that men tend to value rationality, reason, while women value affection.
It does, yes. And we should step in objectively here. While he uses that traditional gender binary to illustrate his point, the underlying mechanism he's talking about is really just mismatched communication styles.
Exactly. It's person A walking in with the reason slider jammed all the way up, trying to solve an emotional issue with pure logic, while person B has the affection slider maxed out, just needing emotional validation.
And that leads to the couples fighting, and each one thinking the other is being completely selfish or malicious.
Right. And this is where the source drops this brilliant metaphor. It says, when couples fight like this, they are actually just playing a harp to a cow.
It's such a great image.
It really is. Imagine dragging this beautiful gilded harp out to a pasture, playing a masterpiece, and getting furious that the cow is just chewing grass and ignoring you.
Right, it's not the cow's fault for not appreciating the classical music.
Exactly. The cow is just being a cow. That's its nature. The fault is yours for choosing the wrong audience or, the wrong channel.
You're trying to force a reasoned solution onto an affection entity.
Yeah.
You're just annoying the cow and exhausting yourself.
So I have to ask, though, if we are fundamentally on different channels, what's the goal here? Is the philosophy saying we need to learn to switch our channels, or do we just accept the noise?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really is about radical acceptance, accepting the noise. The author believes that viewing the world through this triad makes literally everyone look right within their own context.
Wait, everyone?
Yes, everyone. A crying child is just expressing their nature. A wife having a meltdown is expressing affection. A yelling husband is expressing reason. Once you see the drivers, the malice kind of disappears.
Okay, but how far does that go? Because the source scales this up way past the living room, right? It goes straight into global geopolitics.
It does. It takes this radical acceptance to the macro level.
And this is where we have to be super clear with you, the listener. The source mentions some highly charged political conflicts. It talks about Donald Trump launching a trade war and Xi Jinping fighting back tit for tat. It mentions Xi wanting to take Taiwan by force and Tsai Ing-wen talking domineeringly. It even brings up people screaming to exterminate the CTC versus those shouting they love the CPC.
Right, and we need to explicitly state that we are not endorsing any of these viewpoints.
Absolutely not. We are strictly neutral here, not taking any political sides. We are just impartially explaining the author's philosophical framework.
And his framework is that all these political actors, regardless of their ideology, believe they are acting correctly based on their own internal drivers of affection, reason, or nature.
Right. So a retaliatory tariff might be pure reason, it's a calculated logic. But rallying the public with fierce rhetoric, that's affection, tapping into loyalty, and a large state seeking to secure its dominance, that's nature.
Exactly. None of them are glitching. They're following their programming.
Yeah.
The author actually grounds this massive geopolitical concept in a really simple animal analogy.
The cat and the mouse, right?
Yeah. He asks, who can say a mouse digging a hole is wrong and a cat catching it is right?
Well, from the mouse's perspective, the cat is terrible.
Right. But objectively, neither is wrong. They are both just following their nature. The mouse digs to survive. The cat hunts to eat. They're in absolute conflict, but they're both right within their own existence.
That is wild. But okay, pulling back from global geopolitics and cats and mice, what is the ultimate takeaway for you, the listener, navigating your own actual life.
Well, the author summarizes it with this fatalistic but strangely peaceful conclusion. He says, eventually you'll find that those who are destined to die will die, and those who are destined to live will live.
That is pretty heavy.
It is, but it's about letting go of the illusion of control. When you accept these three drivers that people are just running their affection, reason, or nature programs, you stop demanding that the cat act like a mouse.
Right.
And the author promises that with this mindset, quote, everyone in the world becomes pleasing to your eye because the friction just disappears.
Wow. Everyone becomes pleasing to your eye. That really is the ultimate reframe. It replaces judgment with observation.
Exactly.
So I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, building on everything we've talked about today. The next time you find yourself entirely baffled by someone's behavior, whether it's a colleague, a loved one, or even a world leader, ask yourself something. Am I judging an affection or nature action through my own reason lens? Are you just sitting in a pasture playing a harp to a cow? And if so, what happens if you finally put the harp down?